Life is full of examples where we should expect the unexpected. These examples often become the guideposts that define who we are personally and as a nation. However, more often than not, these examples are not immediately evident. Let me give you two personal examples. First, never jump into a massive pile of leaves and expect a soft landing. Chances are you will break your arm, you'll also go to the hospital, and for some fascinating reason that I can't explain, you will be furnished with a bright pink cast. You can imagine that fourth grade was a terrible 6 weeks for me. Second, never put flame next to a hay bale and expect it not to burn. Chances are it will. Your grandma will freak out. Your brother will laugh. You will singe your arm hair and set your father's hayfield on fire. I never heard my dad use so many bad words in my life. Obviously, these were not the experiences I had on the Washington Youth Tour, but they are experiences that teach a common rule, one that was reinforced on my trip. That rule: expect the unexpected. It wasn't long ago that I was on a bus headed to Washington, D.C. with over 40 people that I hardly knew. I had no idea what was going to happen. I expected to not fit in. I assumed it would just be a long, boring trip, and I thought that saying goodbye was going to be easy. I should have known to expect the unexpected. You see, it was on that trip that I made great friends, shared great laughs, and also learned valuable lessons. At the National Archives, I distinctly remember staring down at the words of the Declaration of Independence, thinking, wow, this is it. Right before me is the essence of our forefathers' handiwork, the very foundation that gave birth to this great nation. In that moment, I realized the capability that every American carries within them, the capability to believe, to take a stand, and most importantly, to change the world. The 56 men that signed their names to the Declaration of Independence knew this, and they knew it would change their lives and the world forever. We are all familiar with Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and Benjamin Franklin, but what of some of the others? Did you know 14 of the signers were farmers? The youngest signer was Edward Rutledge from South Carolina. He was 26 years old, not too much older than I. The oldest was Ben Franklin at age 70. Two signers later became the second and third U.S. presidents, John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. All these men endured hardships for their actions. They were men who shared a common vision, believed in themselves, worked hard, and achieved their goals. When I read the words of that historic document, I felt a sense of pride, but more importantly, a sense of responsibility. At that moment, I was inspired to let my voice be heard on issues that matter to me. I realized while spending the week in our nation's capital that I had been given a great opportunity, but I had honestly not known how to use it. As an American, I possess the freedom of speech. I'm given the opportunity, privilege, and right to let my voice be heard. So why shouldn't I take advantage of that opportunity? It was through the youth tour that I was taught the power of not only my voice, but our collective voice. It was through the youth tour that I found my strength. It was through the youth tour that I can come to understand how we can honestly make a difference in our own lives and in the lives of our electric cooperative members. The most important lesson from youth tour came when I sat sleep-deprived on stage behind keynote speaker Mike Shalappy, who was a gold medal winner in men's wheelchair basketball. At age 14, Mike was accidentally shot by his friend who was unknowingly playing with his father's loaded gun. The bullet pierced Mike's chest, escaping his heart, which was on a downbeat, and lodged in his spine. Mike, a promising high school athlete, would never walk again. He faced incredible obstacles, but was able to succeed. It was these words that he said that stuck with me. I thank God for pain. Now, first of all, I'm thinking, what are you talking about? There's a lot of things I thank God for, but it's definitely not pain. You know, great hair, looking good and green. But I definitely do not thank him for pain. Okay. I mean, I stub my pinky toe and I cry like a baby. You guys been there? But he said, I thank God for pain, because only through pain do we change, and only through change do we grow. I think back on these words and realize their truth. I can remember my first day of high school and how I was faced with change. Through that change, I was able to grow from cautious to confident. I remember how this nation went through pain on the day of September 11th, 2001. I remember how that pain gave this nation a desire to change, and I remember how in that time of change we grew strong as patriots, and as a nation. Some will say that change is inevitable. I believe that change is the desire to do better. I never expected to hear those powerful words from Speaker Mike Shalappy during my youth tour experience. I never expected that I would hear words that would stay with me and give me such a great understanding for this world. I never expected that I would hear something that made such a phenomenal difference in my life. I should have realized to expect the unexpected. Now today, our nation is facing change. We're in the middle of an economic and energy crisis, but we have the opportunity and responsibility to fix these issues. Through the Our Energy, Our Future campaign, we can take a stand and make our voices heard for affordable electricity. I encourage you all to join me and my fellow Youth Leadership Council members to challenge Congress to ensure that our energy needs remain affordable and plentiful for all. For me, the youth tour was more than just visiting museums and monuments. The best part of the experience for me was meeting new people and making new connections. I learned that even though we all come from different regions of this great nation, we are not all that different. As I mentioned before, I wasn't sure on what to expect when I got on that bus. It was later that I found out during a 14-person card game that a lot of my new friends felt the same way. Most said they were not expecting to fit in with anyone. We all needed to expect the unexpected. The Washington Youth Tour has showed me the importance of being an engaged and informed citizen. I want to thank Grace Sheard and my local cooperative, Blue Ridge Electric, Jane Forehand and North Carolina's electric cooperatives, Glenn English and the NRECA for giving me such an amazing and wonderful opportunity. These organizations are changing lives every year, and I personally thank them for changing mine for the better. Remember the quote from President Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Now, if you tweak those words just slightly, you have the foundation of our cooperatives, a business of the people, by the people, for the people. In closing, the next time you're in a situation where you're uncertain of the outcome, think back on this speech. Think back on how the unexpected always shows up. In other words, expect the unexpected. Thank you.